I tasked myself to figure out which fuel and which element are the most important to get on your land plot. And I've come to quite a few conclusions, but you got to bear with me because I found one really interesting secret detail that no one's really talking about. Now, some might not think it's a big deal. I think it could have a little bit of impact, but you guys are going to want to watch this video to make sure you find out. So the first thing we should talk about is all the different fuel and elements and kind of what they're used for. So we'll start off with the elements here down the bottom. You've got hydrogen, carbon, and silicon. So basically these are used to help produce all your fuel producing buildings, build up your land and all the rest of it. So these aren't overly important on their own and each plot will be kind of individual, but it's quite easy to get the elements you don't have, especially considering you can build converters with very little effort and very little cost. However, having a balanced set of elements on your land plot is going to be really, really crucial to helping you build up just that bit faster. But at some point, every plot's going to max out and the elements are going to matter significantly less. Now, where it starts to get more interesting is the fuels. Now, a lot of people base this fuels data on what's most and least important on the utility for the fuel. So, for example, with Solon, it's used for forging equipment. Anytime you want to forge equipment in the game, you're going to use Solon to do so. Now, whether or not people place a high value on that is anyone's guess. I don't think it's going to be the most valuable. Hyperion is going to be used for crafting shards, which will be used for capturing alluvials. Now, this is obviously extremely important. Every single time you enter an overworld encounter, you're going to want to make sure you capture alluvials, okay? That's pretty important. So you're going to make sure you need shards to do so. Now, if people focus on crafting and forging, then maybe Solon is more valuable, but if people focus on capturing alluvials, then Hyperion might be more valuable. But I'll talk about that in just a second. The other side of things is Krypton, which will have the utility of travel and teleportation. Now, you might think that this might not be as important as Hyperion because every time you travel, you're likely every time you're going to capture alluvials. But what we found out from the beta is that this just simply wasn't the case. Every time you entered the overworld, you usually had a different mission and not every single time was it to capture alluvials. So Krypton might be the most consistently used and therefore the most valuable, but there are a few more important factors to consider here. Firstly, the balancer pool will even out all these fuels. If lots of people are buying Krypton, the balancer pool will balance it out as much as it can, and then the other things will be worthless, and then people will be selling them more, and things like, you get the idea. If things have less demand, then people are going to supply them less often, and their demand is going to kind of even out against the supply, and everything's going to be worth almost the same amount of value for the most part. But what else could impact this? I actually downloaded a spreadsheet of every single land plot that exists right now, and I tallied up all the different fuel resources and tried to find differences between them. It's no shocker that they're all quite similar to each other, unfortunately. I thought I could find some really neat edge here, but they're really quite similar. Hyperion has about 15,930, Krypton has 15,879, and Solon has 15,629. So Solon has significantly less than Krypton and Hyperion, but not by that much, like less than 1% different, really. So they're really not that different in numbers, but as we go forward and as people start building on their plots, they start selling fuel to the market and things like that, we are going to start to analyze, and you're going to want to be following this channel to make sure you're up to date with this, because it's going to be really, really relevant when you're searching for your next land plot. I'm going to start to analyze basically all the dead plots. If we assume that there are 20,000 plots in circulation, right? If we assume maybe 2,000 to 3,000 of them people just don't play on, we will have to start to take this out of the equation. Then we will see, oh, all the plots that people are playing, Hyperion is just being produced way, way out in front of everything else, just because that's the way people are playing the game and or that's the plots that are active in the ecosystem. So we're going to keep analyzing these numbers. We're going to keep figuring out which fuel is the best. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you like the video so other people can see this and we can all make sure that we've got the right track when it comes to Illuvium fuel. So don't forget to check out this next video up in the top right hand corner here. It's going to give you some more tips on Illuvium Zero. I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a good day.